Well, hello! Michael here, looking at Psalms 90 for our devotion today. A psalm which may be subtitled, From Everlasting to Everlasting. And we're focusing on verse 11 and 12 for the exposition. Let's go ahead and read those two verses. Who knoweth the power of thine anger? Even according to thy fear, so is thy wrath. 12. So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. And as we turn to the treasure of David, let's go ahead and read verse 11 again. Who knoweth the power of thine anger? Even according to thy fear, so is thy wrath. And Spurgeon exposits, Who knoweth the power of thine anger? Moses saw men dying all around him. He lived among funerals and was overwhelmed at the terrible results of the divine displeasure. He felt that none could measure the might of the Lord's wrath. Even according to thy fear, so is thy wrath. Good men dread that wrath beyond conception, but they never ascribe too much terror to it. Bad men are dreadfully convulsed when they awake to a sense of it, but their horror is not greater than it need be. For it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of an angry God. Holy Scriptures, when it depicts God's wrath against sin, never uses an hyperbole. It would be impossible to exaggerate it. Whatever feelings of pious awe and holy trembling may move the tender heart, it is never too much moved. Apart from other considerations, the great truth of the divine anger, when most powerfully felt, never impresses the mind with a solemnity in excess of the legitimate results of such a contemplation. What the power of God's anger is in hell, and what it would be on earth, were it not in mercy restrained, no man living can rightly conceive. Modern thinkers rail at Milton and Dante, Bunyan and Baxter for their terrible imagery. But the truth is that no vision of poet or denunciation of holy seer can ever reach to the dread height of this great argument, much less go beyond it. The wrath to come has its horrors rather diminished than enhanced in description by the dark lines of human fancy. It baffles words, it leaves imaginations far behind. Beware ye that forget, lest he tear you in pieces and there be none to deliver. God is terrible out of his holy places. Remember Sodom and Gomorrah? Remember Korah and his company? Mark well the graves of lust in the wilderness. Nay, rather bethink ye of the place where their worm dieth not, and their fire is not quenched. Who is able to stand against this justly angry God? Who will dare to rush upon the bosses of the buckler, or tempt the edge of the sword? Be it ours to submit ourselves as dying sinners to this eternal God, who can even at this moment command us to the dust and thence to hell. And verse 12 that reads, So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. So teach us to number our days. Instruct us to set store by time, mourning for that time past wherein we have wrought the will of the flesh, using diligently the time present, which is the accepted hour and the day of salvation, and reckoning the time which lieth in the future to be too uncertain to allow us safely to delay any gracious work or prayer. Numeration is a child's exercise in arithmetic, but in order to number their days aright, the best of men need the Lord's teaching. We are more anxious to count the stars than our days, and yet the latter is by far more practical. That we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. Men are led by reflections upon the brevity of time to give their earnest attention to eternal things. They become humble as they look into the grave which is so soon to be their bed, their passion cool in the presence of mortality, and they yield themselves up to the dictates of unerring wisdom. But this is only the case when the Lord himself is the teacher. He alone can teach to real and lasting profit. Thus Moses prayed that the dispensations of justice might be sanctified in mercy. The law is our schoolmaster to bring us to Christ. When the Lord himself speaks by the law, it is most meet that the heart, which will soon cease to beat, should, while it moves, be regulated by wisdom's hand. A short life should be wisely spent. We have not enough time at our disposal to justify us in misspending a single quarter of an hour. Neither are we sure of enough life to justify us in procrastinating for a moment. If we were wise in heart, we should see this, but mere head wisdom will not guide us aright. Ain't that the truth? Oh man, God is real, and wisdom declares it in every which way. Trust you enjoy the meditation. Michael here declaring yet again, Jesus is Lord. Until next time, be blessed.